In, if you haven't already, grab some pillows. You can grab some blankets. They can be like couch pillows. That's what I found today. You can also use towels, and just think of any of these props. They want to be soft, so you don't want to do something with like sharp edges. And just thinking of it as filling the space between your body and the floor. So the intention of our yin practice is to kind of hold the poses a little bit longer. So instead of doing like a bunch of poses over the next hour, we're really only going to do about like 5 to 8, and we're going to hold them and just allow our body to kind of sink into them. So think of using the props as just a way to help you release and let go of some of that engagement in the body. And it doesn't always happen right away. It doesn't always happen at all, and that's okay. So just check in with your body. I'll remind you to constantly check in with your breath and your body. I've got 2 little furry friends behind me. They usually calm down once I start talking. But if you do have pets around you, of course, they can be in this space. If you feel like you get really distracted by them, just kind of start to tune in with your breath. I know it's not always possible to put them elsewhere if you're the only one home like me. So we're going to start seated. So you're welcome to sit up on a pillow or a blanket just to kind of help elevate the hips. But it's just an option. Everything I give you is optional, and I'll always offer modifications. And if it feels okay on your legs, you can cross the legs. It doesn't matter if it's a tight cross or a wide cross or what leg is in front. If you come into this position and you don't really like the feeling of crossing your legs today, you can always extend the legs out in front of you. And you can even feel free to add a little support underneath the knees. Sometimes it's nice just to have a place to lift those legs a little bit. So as you start to settle in, whatever that looks like seated today, if it feels okay, you can start to close your eyes, or perhaps just softening your gaze. Feel the shoulders release away from the ears. Relax the jaw. If at any point as we are holding a shape and your body starts to experience any discomfort, extreme discomfort or pain, feel free to adjust. Sometimes a little discomfort is just kind of your body getting used to that shape. So I always just invite you to just check in with your body, notice what's happening, and if you need to change, change. You can start to notice your breath and just observing the air moving in and out. And beginning to check in and tune in with your body. Just observing what's going on in your body today. Are you feeling open? Are you feeling a little tight or tender? I just invite you to observe and be curious of those sensations that come up in your body. Let's just take 2 more rounds of breath here. We're just still settling in. One more. And just go ahead and place your hands behind you. I'll just turn a little bit so you can see me. So you're just going to place your hands behind you and then place your feet on the floor. And it doesn't matter how close your feet are to your bottom. They can be far away, they can be close. And then just gently rock the knees from side to side. So just think of your knees as windshield wipers. And then start to press yourself all the way back up. And let's take the legs wide. So think as if you're trying to come into a straddle. And again, it doesn't matter how wide that straddle is. The legs can be closer together, they can be further apart. And you can always take your pillows or your blankets and prop them underneath the knee or thigh. So especially if you're feeling extra tight or tender in the backs of the legs today. Or even if you have any pain in the lower back, it can be helpful to just kind of relax the muscles by actually allowing the knees to have a soft bend in them. And just relax the feet, maybe wiggle the toes, roll out the ankles. And you can stay right here. You can keep your spine up tall. You can maybe invite just a little rounding in the spine. You can just let the arms rest on the thighs. Or if it feels like you have a little bit more space, you can start to lean a little forward. So I want you to think of that hinge coming from the hips. And you can feel a little rounding of your spine. So feel as if the back of your spine is just trying to create a little bit of breathing room. Bring your gaze wherever's comfortable. Bring your head and neck wherever's comfortable. If your mind feels busy this afternoon, I invite you to just focus on your breath. Observe the inhale move in and the exhale go out. You may even add a count. It's just giving your mind something else to focus on to keep you present in your practice. Feel free to play with taking the shape and the hinge a little deeper, or even just pulling back a little bit. And good looking for that Goldilocks spot. So not too hot, not too cold, just right. A few more rounds of breath here. Taking one more breath here. And slowly starting to bring yourself all the way back up. Feeling your spine get tall again. Inviting any movements here, so you can move the head or the legs. If you had some props, just gently go ahead and slide them out of the way. Just for the moment. And roll out the ankles again, really just kind of checking in with what your body needs. We're going to stay seated and just go ahead and bend your right leg so that the sole of the foot comes onto the inside of the left leg. So you can go ahead and bring your props back if you want to place something underneath the knee, both knees really. And instead of going towards the center this time, we are going to turn towards the right leg. So feel a little bit of rotation with the spine. And again, you can stay here with this rotation. So you can use your hand for support. Or you can just start to lean a little bit, again, hinging at the hips over the right knee. You can relax the head. Tune in with your breath. If you found that counting of the breath helpful in that last shape, you can go ahead and come back to that here. Focus on trying to keep that gentle rotation of the spine. And if you're leaning over the knee and you really start to feel like that left hip wants to come with you, I invite you to actually come back a little bit. Try to allow that left hip and right hip to stay rooted. If at any point you feel like you're using a lot of effort and engagement to stay somewhere, take it a little back. Our body's gonna feel different every day. Just a little while longer here, a few more breaths. Maybe you play with going just a little bit further for these last few breaths. And after your next full breath, slowly start to lift yourself all the way up. Rotate the spine back to the middle. It's okay if you feel a little crooked as you come out of bed. Extend the right leg, and let's actually just come into a couple of seated cat-cows here. So just rounding the spine, bringing the chin to the chest, and then opening the heart, squeeze the shoulder blades together. So rounding the spine and opening the heart. Let's do one more. This can just help neutralize the spine. And we're gonna go the other way in a moment. So start to bring yourself up nice and tall, and then go ahead and bend your left leg. So same thing. Again, it doesn't matter how wide the right leg is. It doesn't even matter how close the left foot is to the right leg. Focus on just trying to relax the legs, sliding any props that you need. And sometimes we automatically just put props underneath. But if you find that you do that, go ahead and try it without the props. Take a breath or two. And then maybe you slide them back, and maybe they don't need to go as far. I love props. Super advocate for using props, but sometimes we definitely can rely on them a little bit too much, and our body actually has more space to move than we think it does. So just go ahead, and now we're going to rotate that spine over your left knee. Sides might feel a little different. It might not be as much rotation. It might be more. And you can stay right here. Or finding a little hinge at the hips and then just gently and slowly coming forward. So always feeling as if you're almost moving in slow motion. You can rest on your hands, but just remember, try not to like shift all of your weight into the hands. So you're just using them as a gentle support. Again, if it helps to count your breath, you can come back to that. We tend to lose it in between shapes, and that's okay. little while longer here. Again, you don't have to stay where you start. So maybe you play with going a little bit deeper or pulling it back. And after your next breath, slowly start to bring yourself up. Rotate the spine back to the center. You can move through that cat-cow movement if that felt good. Sometimes even just a little side to side, either bending or a little rotating. So we're going to come back to that same position, but this time we're going to add something to it. So when you feel ready, just start to bend your right leg. So the sole of the foot again comes towards the left. But this time you're going to bend your left leg. The foot can rest on the floor to start, and then just walk the foot wide, so over to the left side. And you're gonna lean onto the right hip, so that way you can let that left knee come towards the ground. Now, I just want you to be really mindful of the knee. So if at any point that knee feels like too much, you can add some stacks of pillows and just allow that knee to rest, because it doesn't have to come all the way to the ground. It doesn't have to come anywhere near the ground. And it's okay to feel like you're leaning more on the right hip. That's actually what I want you to feel. So you might even just kind of stay here and lean on the right hand. Use your props, especially on that left side. If you are kind of staying here and you're feeling good, maybe you try to start to lift yourself up a little bit. This will get a little bit more challenging if you have a lot of height on the left, under the left knee. So I actually encourage you to kind of stay a little bit towards the right side with the pillows underneath the left knee. But you can also just start to kind of feel like you're leaning forward over the right shin. So it doesn't matter. I'm still kind of leaning to the right here. And I'm just resting on my right leg. I might even bring more pillows and blankets or puppies underneath my forehead, whatever works. And as I kind of play, I'll just find a place where I want to pause. Depending on your body this afternoon, you might feel this more in the left leg. I know I'm really feeling it in my inner thigh on my left leg today. You might feel it on the right leg. Again, just being really mindful of, as long as there's no pain happening on the left knee. If you start to come into this and you even have all this height on the left side and you're just like, nope, not going to work today, I just want you to straighten that leg right back out. But focus on trying to come towards that right side a little bit more. So maybe you take the leg a little wider. Really just being mindful of the knee. Tune back in with your breath. A few more rounds of breath here. Last breath. If you're leaning forward, just start to lift yourself up a little bit. If you've got anything going on with your knee, I actually want you to stay here for a moment. I'm going to give you another option in a second. But if you have any props underneath your knee that you were just using for extra support, just gently go ahead and slide those out of the way. Right now, you're leaning more on the right hip, but we're actually going to send this left leg, we're moving into pigeon pose, all the way behind us. So I'm going to kind of walk my hands forward and lift up my butt so I can straighten out and just lay on the top of my left leg. So my right leg is staying where it is. You can see my toes. I might add a pillow or something underneath my right hip. I might keep something in front of me, bring up something under my belly or my forehead. Now, if there's any pain with the knee, slowly start to, so if you came into that pigeon pose, stay, and then try to tune me out for the next like 30 to 45 seconds. If any pain with the knee, if you come into this and you're like, no, not today, you're gonna come onto your back. So I don't care how you get there, check in with your body, see what it needs. And you're gonna take that recline figure 4. So you'll cross the right leg, the ankle over the knee, and you can always stay here. This is perfect. Or you can hug it in. Know that hugging it in is gonna use a little bit more effort. Sometimes if I can reach it, I like to even slide something underneath my foot, even just to kind of lift it up a little bit. But it's not required. You're still doing work, even if the foot's on the ground. If your body just prefers the reclined version of pigeon, which is what that figure 4 essentially is, you are also welcome to go there. If you don't like any of the options, you are also welcome to them. I don't care. No one's ever taken me up on it, but it is always an option. Now that you've kind of found your spot. Tune back in with your breath. And definitely feel like you're using a lot more effort in pigeon pose, and that's okay. Adjust, add support as you need to. Tune back in with your breath. Just a little while longer here. Nice and slow. You'll start to lift yourself up. If you're on your back, just gently release the legs. You can come back onto that right hip because we are going to come back to a seat before we do the other side. Untangle yourself. If you're on your back, really slowly and intentionally find your way back to sit. Whatever you need to rinse out, if your sides feel different, totally fine, totally normal. Don't worry about where we're going next if you forgot. I remember. Roll out the ankles. We're going to go ahead and bend the left leg. So we're going to start with that foot towards the inside of the right leg. So again, have all your props nearby. You'll start to bend the right leg. Walk the foot over to the right, and you're going to let the knee, you're going to do internal rotation here. Let the knee come towards the ground. It doesn't have to actually touch the ground. It can touch a pillow. It can touch multiple pillows. Think that just the inside of that leg should be towards the floor. And again, any pain on the knee, leg straight. You can just kind of stay here and lean on the left side. It's okay if your right booty is lifted. Or you can start to feel like you're trying to fold over the left leg a little bit more. Be really mindful of your knee. Tune back in with your breath. Few more rounds of breath here. You're leaning forward, just slowly start to lift yourself up. Gently slide the props out of the way. Gonna make it much easier to rotate. Bring your hands in front of you so you can lift your hips and then just slide your right leg back. So again, the left leg will pretty much stay where it's at. You can add props under your torso or underneath your left hip. Any pain in either knee, and you'll come onto your back and you'll figure for the left leg. So remember, you've got all those options there of hugging it in, leaving it on the ground, sliding something underneath your foot. All great options. Last few rounds of breath here. You'll slowly start to lift yourself up. If you're on your back, gently release the figure four. Also, if you're on your back, you're going to stay on your back because we're all going to join you there. But you can come through a seated and kind of rinse out and move around there. Or you can right away just come onto your back. Again, always just kind of tuning in with what your body needs. Once you can even use one of your pillows as an actual pillow. Floor is kind of hard here. And then any movement you need when you first arrive on your back. You can hug your knees in. Rock the knees from side to side. But we'll all meet with our feet on the ground and take your feet a little wide and then just allow the knees to knock towards each other. So it doesn't matter if they touch, they're just both coming towards the middle. We're getting a little bit of that internal rotation here. It's a nice opposite of that pigeon pose. A little similar to that pose we took before pigeon. You're welcome to stay here, or you can start to hug your knees into your chest. Give yourself a little rock, and maybe even just hold here for a few breaths. You can hold your legs, or you can hold onto your pants. There's something else your body's craving, you're welcome to take that. When you feel ready, you'll start to take your legs out in front of you, but take them wide. And then you can even bring your arms up into a T or a Y. So think like a starfish, just taking up a lot of space here. And always slide some props underneath the thighs or the knees to help lift out of the lower back. You are welcome to stay a starfish for the remainder of class, or you can stay on your back and just tighten up that shape a little bit for Shavasana. Or, as always, if staying on your back for a longer period of time creates discomfort, you can always come onto your side in a fetal position. Or you can throw your legs up on a couch or a chair or up the wall. Just finding a place where you can relax as much as possible. And so that way you can take these last few minutes of class in complete and total gratitude for your practice today. Shavasana. Slowly starting to bring some awareness back into the space. Starting to bring some awareness back into the body. Wiggling your fingers and your toes. Rolling out your wrists and ankles. And rocking your head from side to side. Using the strength of your arms as you roll onto one side. And when you feel ready, pressing yourself all the way up to sit. Trying to keep the focus inside. Bringing your hands to your heart center. Gently bow your head. Thanking yourself for making it to your mat today, for your practice, for your energy, for your breath, and most importantly, for yourself. Namaste.